Jeff here, welcome to my corner and welcome to another open box. Now today's focus is going to be on Kinetic. Now we all are familiar with the brand. Kinetic has been around for several years now, but they never received the recognition that they deserved. True, there were some issues with their earlier releases, maybe a little bit of quality, maybe a little bit of accuracy, but lately, actually more recently, they redeemed themselves by releasing a whole new line of new tools, new kits, which is called Kinetic Gold. And I got a couple samples here that I would like to introduce today that we're going to have a look at. First of all, they have a couple new Harriers coming, probably around December, and completely new tools. They released a British version and of course an American version. So we're going to have a look at that and what it's all about. What is the difference between the old Kinetic and the new one. And then of course, last but not least, we have a Starfighter that they boxed up with special versions. So we're going to give that a closer look too. So let's not lose any more time. Let's open the box, see what's in it, and then we'll be back for some final words. So stay tuned. So first of all, let's look at their Harriers. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Kinetic Gold recently released two new tooled Harriers. The first one is the AV-8A Harrier US Marine Corps. The second one is the British version, which is the Harrier GR1/GR3. It's like a two-in-one kind of a deal where you can have one kit, but you can pick out of two versions. Now, when you look at their box art, let's start with that. As with their previous releases, Kinetic box art has always been very nice, very appealing, very professional. It's a very sturdy box, and it also gives you a couple, at least on the sides, what's inside the box, or at least a little hint, history. Also, on the other side is always the color profiles. As I mentioned, you can build two options, but from those two options, Kinetic always includes an extensive decal sheet. And like in this case too, with the British version, you have, although you can build two, you have two options to build. There's also a choice of doing like 7 versions. So there's a decal sheet included that will give you the opportunity to build one of 7 versions. So let's open the box. I'm only going to open the Harrier GR1, GR3, the British version, because there's a couple more parts in there. But as with the American version, as with the US Marine Corps version, the parts are all the same. So it's the same tool, it's just a little bit of different parts that you can build either an American version or a British version. So we're going to look only at the parts of the British one because they're basically the same as the other one. So let's open the box and see what's inside. Now, before we're gonna go further, I'm just gonna open all the bags here. I'm not gonna annoy anybody by opening all these plastic bags. So let me give me a couple seconds and I will be back, and I will have the parts out of the bags, and then we can have a closer look of what it's all about. So the first thing that you notice when you take the parts out of the plastic is the quality. As I mentioned before, this is a brand new tool, and it also supposed to be one of the most accurate Harriers on the market. But when you take a closer look, you can see that the detail is very refined. I will post some pictures after we're done talking about it with some close-ups. But you can tell that the detail is very refined. The panel lines are very fine and crisp. And you can already detect the difference between the Kinetic Gold and their very early releases. So they definitely stepped it up with this, and very beautiful. The fuselage here, we also have the intake duct here on the side, and you can, looking at the instruction sheet, you can put them in an open or closed position, so you have at least a choice to do that. So the second sprue we look at, we have some differences in versions of the tail fin. Again, these two kits, the US Marine Corps version and the British version, will have parts that have to be omitted depending what kind of version you're picking. But there's also a difference in ejection seat, also a difference in the cockpit. So depending what version you want to build, either a GR1 or a GR3, of course there are different parts that you have to choose from, so you have to really pay close attention on the instruction sheet. A nice thing that Kinetic also did was including two versions of the upper wing. You can definitely see the difference on the leading edge here. This is more jagged than this one, so depending on the version you have to pick, you of course also have to make sure that you pick the right parts to do that. Then we have some of the rocket pods here. Also have a lot more detail from the fuselage. But again, the detail is very refined, very refined. There is not much that you have to do extra. It's all there and it's all right to scale. So that's a good thing. Then here we have the landing gear. You can definitely detect the wheels, or recognize at least the wheels that are attached to the wingtips. We also have the main landing gear here. And again, when you take a closer look, very nice detailed. Also the inside of the wheel doors is very detailed. So they did really a good job on this. And we have some more details here. We got the nose cone, we got part of the wheels. We also have the exhaust nozzles. You got these here, and then of course a bunch of pylons. Then we also have, of course, two sprues with all the ordnance. We have some drop tanks, of course, and then some sidewinders and air-to-air missiles. So again, a lot of choices depending what version you want to pick. You also have the ordnance that goes with it. Then last but not least, of course, Kinetic always provides us with any of their kits an extensive decal sheet. As I mentioned again earlier in the video, that in this British version you can have the choice of building 7 different versions. So there is enough decals to pick one of 7 versions. Very beautiful. Kinetic also included a small thread of photo etch. You can definitely detect some detail for the wing roots. There's also the harness, the pilot's harness for the ejection seat. We have some formation strips. That probably is meant for the US Marine Corps version, and then a couple of things that needs to be glued on the fuselage. But they provided us with a lot of detail. Even this, it's really nice done. So that will really add to the accuracy of the Harrier. So lastly, let's look at their instruction sheet. As we are used to Kinetic, pretty straightforward, no big deal. They also give you color references, and I think they recommend using the ammo from MiG colors. So I think they have they have a whole line of colors, so you might look into that if you're planning to paint your model. You might look into the ammo range of colors. Again, pretty straightforward. They give you step-by-step instructions. Also, they will tell you what parts to pick for which version. So, other than that, again, not much to tell you. It's an instruction sheet. They also give you the storage configurations for which version that you can apply. And then, of course, you have the last couple of pages. You can go by which version you pick, and then of course all the decals that go with it. So all in all, very beautifully done. Again, they stepped it up. The quality is there. Very nice kit. If you're a Harrier fan, you definitely should either get the British GR1 or GR3, or of course, last but not least, the US Marine Corps version. As I mentioned, we looked at the British parts, but the parts of the Harrier of the US Marine Corps are the same. It's just depending what kind of version you want to pick, and you can go from there. But they're basically all new tools, and they are available as of, I think the last I heard is probably around mid-December, so in time, ready for Christmas. So then finally, this is another kit they recently released, and it's available. It's the F-104G or TF-104G, so it's another 2-in-1 kind of a kit. And this is closer to home because the F-104 has always been my favorite airplane, so I'm really thrilled about this. You can either, again, like I said, you can either pick the 1-seater or the 2-seater. So let me open the box, let me take the parts out of the plastic, and then we'll be back in a couple seconds. So let's start with the 1-seater. And I have to admit, as I mentioned earlier in the video too, I'm a little bit prejudiced when it comes to the F-104, a little bit more picky actually. But when I picked the pieces up, when I got it out of the plastic bag and I looked closely, I was blown away about the absolutely beautiful detail that's put into this kit. This is absolutely phenomenal as far as refined. I mean, this kit is really, really refined. This is as close as perfection as you can get it. So I mentioned that in the box itself, you have the choice between the one-seater and the two-seater, the TF-104. Now the whole build, except for, of course, the fuselage in the cockpit, but the whole build is the same. The F-104 was typically, except for a couple of details on the fuselage, was basically the same, like a one-seater as a two-seater. So again, when you look at the parts, when you look at the detail, even in the cockpit, there is not much that you can add, that you have to add. It's all there. I will post some pictures, of course, at the end of this video, but I can already tell you this is really gorgeous. I mean, all the detail that is in there, it's absolutely one of the best 104s on the market, period. And then of course it comes with more details. They also included the drop tanks, which I think is a very good thing. An F-104 is always beautiful when it's on the ground. And you have those the drop tanks. You have the wingtip tanks, and then you have the drop tanks underneath it. That's always the version I prefer to do, and Kinetic included those, so that's a plus. So here we have some more pieces. Again, I'm really very happy with this. This is absolutely stunning. All the detail, even the wheels, they made sure that they have a little bulge in them. So that's an extra detail. Other than that, we have, of course, the ammo bay. There's so much detail there. So you can build this kit straight out of the box and have a showstopper. Very beautiful. They also include an extensive decal sheet where you can build the German version, and I'm sure there's enough aftermarket decals out there for 104s that you can pick another version. But what they include is several versions of the Bundesluftwaffe. And as they do with their other releases, Kinetic always includes a small fret of photo etch, especially to represent the pilot's harness and some small detail that cannot be basically rendered in plastic. But to me, Kinetic Gold, and especially with the Starfighter, they get like a 10 out of 10 because it's absolutely beautifully done. So let me take some close-up shots, and then we'll be back for some final words. So there you have it, guys. I hope the images spoke for themselves. As you can tell, Kinetic really stepped up their game with the Kinetic Gold line. The quality is just phenomenal, and hopefully they will continue this. These kits should be available sometime this month, so December, hopefully in time for Christmas. And we will have some available in the next coming weeks, hopefully. that was it. I'm going to leave it at that. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. Don't forget to like and share us on Facebook. And of course, most importantly, please go to our website at www.jeffecornerstore.com for all your future model purchases. As far as I'm concerned, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next week with another Quick Tip Tuesday, or on Sunday at 7 o'clock Central Time for our live Facebook talk. But for now, Jeffy here, signing off.